Imagine if you're a comedian and all of a sudden your cue card has all kinds of talking points from politicians and foreign governments on it. Don't read it. You degrade yourself and you become complicit in the greatest crime in history.
Isn't that beautiful? I mean, the idea that this man would accuse, that I would be accused of reading talking points from foreign governments, if it weren't so brazen, it would almost be funny coming from this loathsome, un-American Moscow mule.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the recording. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. It's Friday. If you're enjoying yourself or if you're looking forward to the weekend, please do make sure you leave a like on this video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn notifications on. Jimmy Kimmel, one of the biggest sellouts for Big Pharma on the planet, has been in full meltdown mode all week after the recent report from the Department of Energy, one of several agencies that now have essentially decided that, well, the coup was forced upon us and it wasn't like this natural thing, or that it leaked out. And he's not dealing with it very well because he's made his entire personality the coup, even though he's also had it at least once, maybe several times. He's certainly getting big checks from Big Pharma. Well, he did a bit of a stand-up routine or his opening monologue the other day. I can't really play it because I'm sure he'll claim it, but essentially he poo-poos the findings, saying, oh my God, well, geez, all these other people say that it didn't come from there, and he actually goes on to like blame Trump. Like, I'm not kidding you. His monologue, hopefully I can play a small part of this. He actually works Trump into his 1 minute and 30-second monologue. It's absolutely ludicrous. He like, I've never seen somebody suffer from TDS. Probably, well, maybe there's Keith Olbermann might have worse TDS than Kimmel, but like it must be Kimmel's viewers too, to be honest with you, because if they weren't laughing, I assume he wouldn't be doing it. But let's see if I can put this up here or not. See if it'll let me. For whatever reason, I think there needs to be somebody told me there was like an AMD update.
Speaking of diarrhea.
There we go. So he makes this all about Trump.
Asian American sentiment and even violence in this country, and that's why it was irresponsible for the president to call it the China virus.
No, it wasn't. Whether you believe it was leaked or you believe it came from their wet market or you believe it came from, I mean, is there any doubt that's where it came from?
But Tucker Carlson apparently disagrees.
This plague should never have happened. It could have been stopped. But people chose not to stop it.
What people? Tomorrow he'll blame the Spanish flu on Banderas.
Yeah. Imagine if you're a comedian and all of a sudden your cue card has all kinds of talking points from politicians and foreign governments on it. Don't read it. You degrade yourself and you become complicit in the greatest crime in history.
Isn't that beautiful? I mean, the idea that this man would accuse, that I would be accused of reading talking points from foreign governments.
He does, though. Now, you could have your problems with Tucker Carlson, too, because there's been some suspicions around him. But, you know, ultimately, he's been completely melting down about this because it exposes him as a fraud, just like, you know, his performative mask wearing and all this other kind of stuff. Never forget, though, that this guy who got the coup, right, who has quadruple poked, you know, he's probably got 10 or 12 of them. He once suggested that people who don't have it should not be treated in hospitals. That's what he said. After noting that Anthony Fauci, who is now disgraced by in many people's eyes, that hospitals should take some tough choices. And Kimmel says, that's the choice. Doesn't seem so tough for me. Kimmel said, somebody who has the poke is having a heart attack. Yes, come right in. We'll take care of you. Unpoked guy who gobbled horse goo. Rest in peace, Wheezy. We've, and now these are his words, not mine. I'm not paraphrasing those. That's a direct quote from him from last September, or from 2 Septembers ago. Now we know what we know. I mean, this is the same guy that, didn't call out CNN for purposely yellowing Joe Rogan's face to make him look sicker than he really was. These guys proudly called people who took that pill horse paste, even though it had been consumed by billions of humans and won a Nobel Prize. But they were happy to tell Americans that it was horse paste. Whose talking points were those exactly? You think Jimmy Kimmel came up with those? Jimmy Kimmel came up with those exact same talking points? Of course, Hassan Minaj, I think he's filling in at the Daily Show, also pushing. I mean, you know that meme where like they have like the one news person, then more and more, and they're all saying the exact same thing? You could do that with most mainstream news outlets, almost certainly. The Benny Johnson tweeted, live studio audience turns on late night corporate comedian Jimmy Kimmel. I watched this clip. It's actually the same clip we just saw. I wouldn't say they turned on him. But the laughter was definitely muted more on the end because people are starting to be able to come out and say things. And we saw Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson? Yeah. Come out and essentially call out the fact that like everybody was fine pushing, just cuddling up to big pharma because they were scared. When liberals used to be anti-corporation, anti-big pharma. Colbert, of course, shove that up your nose and rotate it. It's not over. It's never over. These people need their audience to be in constant fear. Then, on top of that, now he's worried about Aaron Rodgers. He's more worried about this meltdown has been incredible. He's lashing out at Aaron Rodgers, who wants to know who was on the list, that list. So Jimmy Kimmel suggests that Aaron Rodgers was a conspiracy theorist for wanting to know the names of those listed on Mr. Jeffrey's list. Well, it sounds like somebody's probably on that list, doesn't it? That's the type of thing someone who's on the list might be worried about. And of course, we all know why this is because Aaron Rodgers is famously unpoked. He never got it. I think he had the coof once. He was fine. That isn't to say that people, I've had it twice. 3 times? No, twice. And it was not fun either time. But also, like, I'm still here. And, I feel like the next time I get it, and I will, it'll be easier. And just like just like many things in life. But now he lashes out Aaron Rodgers for wanting to know who's on the list. Needless to say, all this UFO talk has the tinfoil hatters going wild, Kimmel began, segueing out of a bit about a recent slew of flying objects in American skies, including Green Bay whack-packer Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy Kimmel then pulled up a clip of the QB discussing the recent spat of train derailments and other peculiar disasters that the nation of the Pat McAfee show on February 14th. Did you hear about the client list? Is about to be released too? Rodgers asked the host. There is some files that I has some names on it that might be getting released pretty soon. Nothing to see here, Rodgers joked, pointing out that all of the people to have visited the infamous island, only his wife was ever charged with anything. And that's like one of the best memes ever. Like, she got charged with trafficking women to absolutely nobody. Like, not one other person. So who is she trafficking them to? Who is taking part in her business? Rodgers wasn't the only one targeted by Kimmel this week. The host also took aim at former President Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, for suggesting the former was racist, for suggesting the coup was the fault of the Chinese government, and labeling the later a Russian asset. This has been a week-long meltdown. And I got to find this tweet quick. Yeah, this was 5 hours ago. David Bakhtiari, good friend, and one of the best offensive linemen in football when he's healthy, retweeted the clip of him getting mad at Aaron, saying, "Tell me you're on the client list without telling me you're on the client list." Currently has 57,000 likes in just 5 hours. Oh, and he retweeted Mythinformed. Shout out. Nice retweet from David Bakhtiari. I also love how he throws out concussions like they're a topic to joke about too. It can be a funny thing to joke about in the wild. I remember when Jim Carrey went on the show and cornered him about it. I wonder if he'd been there. Used to like Jimmy. He took a nosedive around the start of the coof and hasn't stopped since. Dang, I usually like Jimmy, but this is something. Not sure why everyone wouldn't want to see the list released unless you have something to hide. I mean, that's my quarterback. I hate agreeing with Packers fans, let alone their players, but you're the man, Dave. I mean, yeah. It seems like he's probably on the list, doesn't it? It seems like he must think he's on the list, or he's worried that someone he knows is on the list.
Needless to say, all this UFO talk has the tinfoil hatters going wild, including Green Bay whack packer Aaron Rodgers, who offered this hot take on the Pat McAfee show.
I believe that this has been going on for a long time. Interesting timing on everything.
What he's saying is you wonder if there's something. A guest just came over who Ruby really likes. If you can hear her whining, she's happy, not angry. He's talking about there's all this stuff going on, and it seems odd to convince, to maybe hide the fact or distract people.
Oh. Might be time to revisit that concussion protocol, Aaron.
Ha! You have brain damage if you want to see all the. Is this guy support trafficking? Does Jimmy Kimmel support that? It sure seems like he might. Wouldn't he want to see these people brought to justice? I would assume he did. But the Kimmel meltdown continues as his show's ratings continue to tank, and it couldn't happen to a bigger piece of garbage on the planet. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.